This is just a quick recap of what we did for week 3, I believe. Start with a new document. You can make it whatever size you want. I'm just going to go 8 inches by 8 inches, 72 dpi. Now remember, since you're in studio, always check your color mode. I'm going to want RGB because I do not want grayscale. Alright, now I'm just going to make my initials, change the color to black, get my move tool, grab the bounding box, hold down shift, scale it up. Alright, then I'm going to click accept. This is a font, it's editable. I'm going to duplicate the layer just so I can always go back to it if I need it, hide it. Now I'm going to rasterize it. Now it is editable. And we can do what we like. I'm going to use my lasso, 0 for the feather. And I'm going to match the angle of the M. So I'm going to go to the midpoint here. I'm going to move this. Deselect, Control D or Command D. And then I'm going to quickly just do the same thing with the Alt key and move this part. Alright, so deselect, Control D or Command D. I've altered the font just real quick to show you. Remember, you can always double click in here, add an effect. Such, up or down, for a layer style, or, that's just a quick adjustment, I'm going to hide my effect. I'm going to duplicate this layer, hit OK, hide that. Another thing we covered was the puppet warp, edit puppet warp. So with this, it creates a mesh. You click and you add your anchor points. Where the anchors are, is sort of like holding down the object. So if you don't have enough anchors, you're going to start having it do effects that you do not want. So I'm going to just move this part here. If I want, I could add an anchor there to only change less of it. And then I'm going to grab this one, move it over there. I want to change that, so I'm adding a pin. Now I've got a little bit more flexibility. And as we mentioned before, if you don't want to see the mesh, you can just click on that to get a more accurate preview of what you're going to do. I'm going to just stretch that. This looks about all right, so I'm going to click OK. Now, that's one example. I'm going to show you the blur tool blurs the edges, sharpen sharpens the edges, smudge. You can start smudging and smearing the pixels. This is all based off of the strength and the size of the brush. 50 is half, so I'm going to crank it up to 100. And the more I click and drag, the more it smudges. So I'm going to undo that because I like the 50. It's a bit more subtle. I'm going to make my brush bigger. I'm going to make it 35. And I'm going to just smudge from here, like that. See, I'm blurring the pixels with the smudge tool. There's another quick, useful example. And if I change the hardness to 100, I'm going to smudge from here. I'm still getting a little bit of a feathered look because of the strength. But you're getting a little bit more rough, jagged look. Now remember, up here is your history. You can go back as many times as you want. Watch the demonstration change. Okay, so this is the last one that I liked right there. So I'm going to change my strength. Keep it at 50. Hardness. Got rid of that. Now I've got a nice soft look there. That's just another example, something you could do with the smudge tool. I'm going to hide that. Go back to my original. Duplicate it. Hit OK. Hide the one beneath it, and as you remember, we covered 3D. New 3D from Layer, Okay? If I click and drag in here, that's going to rotate my camera. This is my light right here. You can adjust your light however you like. This is the shape letters right here, the MW. Extrusion is how far back they go out. Change my camera a little more to show you that. Going back further, coming back in more. The axis, the Z-axis, on the arrow, that's moving it back and forth away from the camera. Move on the Y-axis, up and down. See the little arrow comes up telling you it's the Z, and then the X-axis, there we go, side to side. You can also choose to rotate on a certain axis. This is the front of the material. You could change your material up here, or you could click on the icon and place an image next to diffuse. New texture, and then I'd load in an image like metal or wood. This is the extrusion material right here. So you can change that. I'm just going to make it red just so you can see it change. There's the red back there. And then, of course, the back as well. So you could also change your textures there. If you want to add more lights into the scene, down here, point spot, and infinite. And those can all be edited up in the window. Soft lights will have softer shadows. Hard lights will have harder, so 0 softness, it's going to have very hard shadows. So here, you click on each layer, and the properties will change. These are your 2 different lights. This is my logo letters. That's where I can start changing things, how it catches the shadows. You could also deform it. You can twist it. You can taper it, however you like. And up here is where you change the 3D extrusion. Messing around with the different settings will give you a variety of looks. You could always go back to the default, which is the top left one. And then your camera. That's the default camera. Current view, I'm going to undo that. So this is the camera right here. If you click on default camera, it takes you back to what you first opened. So current camera, here's my field of vision, lower number, further away, higher number, closer up. That's the millimeters of the lens, like old-fashioned photography. Your depth of field, how sharp the image will be or how blurry the background will get. And then when you've got it to where you want, you 3D, then hit render, and then you go save your file. So once it's rendered, you go File, Save As, and then in your pull-down menu, change it to whatever you want, JPEG. And then you name it, and then you're all good.